Last night I was looking at the police blotter for the town in which I'm going to be doing some temp work in on Monday. It's 80 miles away. And I made mention yesterday about this experience, a little bit like deja vu, like other experiences where I've slept in my car during hard times in order to make money when the money wasn't there, to get the bills paid. And with YouTube throwing the content creators under the bus, I'm doing some things in the short term, and it's definitely connected to a spiritual experience, because it is a spiritual experience to sleep in your car and to sacrifice and to do certain things that you don't want to do in order for the greater good. I go out and I work for my platform. I go and I work to pay off what I owe on this land. And when my time is freed up full time from the need to be making land payments, there's going to be more content created than ever before. And so I'm still evolving and I'm still growing and I'm still healing. And there are some parts of myself that have yet to even begin to heal at all. And so all of this is on the table as I look at the police blotter. And I see for the first time, and looking at crime news, that they are reporting people living in their vehicles on the local crime blotter. Not only that, they're breaking up their homeless camps. They're moving them different places. They have nowhere to go. And you want to talk about something like out of 1984, the have and have-nots, the party members and the non-party members, the chosen people and those that have been left behind. This is up close and personal. And even those of us that may have been homeless in our own lives can, after a few years of not being homeless, start acting like the rest of society. Being afraid of those that are showing great extreme emotional pain. Being afraid of drug addicts. Being afraid they're all, for the most part, being afraid that they're all maniacs or something like that. What if it was us? What if it was you? What if it was you? What if it was me? It was me once. And from that experience, I learned things that I would have never learned had I not been in that experience. So my heart goes out for those that are hurting. And I would say that when we talk about mental health, which is another topic, we're talking about society in general. We talk about the mental health fallout. One of the other stories that was reported was that there was a man seen crying in his vehicle. Are you serious? This was in the police blotter. I have never seen a police blotter report on, and who's calling? What type of people are these? And then I looked at their mascot for their high school. Oh, it was a little bit more clear then. There's something disincarnate about this land at which I'm traveling to, ladies and gentlemen. But it is like a pilgrimage to get those remaining needed resources to make the land payment, to pay the $70 internet bill, to pay the $70 bill with regards to no insurance, the ticket that I got and reported on a month to 2 months ago, and other costs. And so I have to lean on spirit to protect me, to protect the tire. I'm working on getting a spare. I'm working on getting a rim. I'm working on trying to find a way to the junkyard during some time, and yet I'm jumping like immediately into work. And that is hardcore. This is also a time that I need to pull my focus away from other things. And, I want to be aware of what's going on in the world, and I'm always aware vibrationally, but as far as intellectually and as far as the news and watching certain YouTube videos, that type of hardcore consumption needs to be dramatically curtailed. As I now transition from that and making money doing what I do online, thank you for your support. The videos will continue. Now more time needs to be focused, at least 10 hours work. As far as time spent finding a shower and finding a way to get some food because I may be parked over there in an area where they literally report people parking illegally to shame them in the town paper. And so for me, this is a spiritual experience in the sense that, you know, I've been through this before. I've been through this before, and I've reached millions of people on the internet, yet despite that, the algorithm is working against me. And I appreciate the fact that you're there and that you're evolving as well and understanding that you're not being bashed by me explaining this. There's tons of people that intended to subscribe to my content that are not being notified anymore of anything that I do. Every now and again, somebody might come by and go, Alex, I thought you were something else 10 years ago. Wow. So glad that you're calling out XYZ. And they may just float away like a bird without hanging around to hear what's really being said. To actually respect the things that I have to say here and now without it being about him and what he wore today and what he ate for breakfast today and what girl he's going out with today. This channel is not going to be about him, but he is a part of the narrative. He is a part of the plot. So over on some of the other platforms, we'll be discussing that. And just like one of our supporters noted in the comment section, even discussing those things in today's day and age is something that can get a channel flagged and demonetized. So, as we focus on this Gnostic truth here, it is a Gnostic truth. It is their attempt to bury the truth. So what is the truth? What is the highest truth? What is the highest truth for us to find as an individual about ourselves and about the world? And that is the greater question. Not what XYZ had for breakfast and what his drive was like on the way home. And whether he had a good day or not. And whether that good day or not was projected to the entire world, to millions of listeners through a 4-hour radio show. Of screaming and cussing and crying and then people analyzing, is it real, is it fake? What kind of a world is this? Where are we really in the cosmos? Who are these people? Who are these people that are ruling this world, that have their agents in the media, alternative and mainstream? What is this world? What is this world? As we take a deep breath, and we hold in that knowledge and analyze it in the air, the what is. As you release the lie, release the lie with the exhaling of your breath. As you inhale the truth. As you inhale the truth. As you exhale the lie. With each inhalation, bringing your energy levels to a higher state. Deep breaths. Filling your belly, filling your auric field with the truth. You may not know what that truth is, but you're going to fill your body and you're filled up with the truth. And then the truth will become self-evident to you. Through the act, through the gnosis of seeking it. It will find its way to you. And it may be disruptive to your programming when it finds you. And you need to allow the process. Sometimes we bump our heads for a reason. I bumped my head, literally. I literally bumped my head a week ago when I went hiking, not paying attention. Sometimes maybe we're meant to bump our head to wake us up, shake things up a little bit, shake up that programming. But we shouldn't be so unconscious that we feel the need to bump our head so hard that we end up with a concussion. Hopefully, we don't have to learn the hard way as we evolve through this matrix. So as we take a deep breath, we ground ourselves to the center of this planet, and we release the programming, we release the lie with the exhalation. That is your prayer and meditation. The meditating on the releasing of this programming. And just like a truth that you may not even know is there, that may be interacting in a part of your auric field, the same goes for the lie. The same goes for the programming. So there are things that are happening now that we have not seen. And just continue to breathe and release the programming. I'm not telling you to believe everything that I believe. I'm just talking and sharing my truth. But part of my truth is letting you know that you have your own truth. And there may be things that come up as you breathe and look for the truth regarding your own life. And as we go through this last in a series of eclipses, it is a time where we may see old energy moving out as this new moon comes in. And while I don't quote unquote do astrology, I do pick up on the vibes. Sometimes I've been picking up on the vibes, I would say increasingly so, living here. And it could have to do with the intensity, the building up of these eclipses, this being like, I guess, the third in the series. And coming at a time where we're moving out of the retrograde period. And so I pick up on this collective chatter and the different information that's being shared. We're in a pretty intense time and moving into another cycle. Unlike a lot of other astrologers, I don't necessarily custom tailor this to an astrological discussion about your new significant other or something super monumental. There are highs and lows, and some of us are affected more than other times when there are full moons based on other celestial factors, including where we are on the planet. So I do believe in my own inner gnosis and truth that through divine intervention in my own soul's growth and soul's destiny, that I've been removed from some of the more toxic environmental areas in the last decade. And there was a reason why I was in Costilla County during 2012. There's a reason why I went back to Portland in 2014 after that period and saw what had become of it. It was post-apocalyptic on a social level. The end of the world didn't arrive, but the end of a certain level of normalcy within society. I think something has changed in recent years. And it is defining our society, this breakup, these divisions, the psychic attacks that are taking place. What about the synthetic marijuana in this story, by the way? We're not really covering news, but I see things like that. And it's like, why even cover it anymore? It's so obvious. The people that are checking out, the people that are overdosing and passing out, in that particular case. And there is something creepy about that synthetic designer drug market. And the potential for people to end up with entity attachments from the consumption of some of those questionable, not very natural substances. Without even knowing it. Without even knowing it. Breathing in that truth. And breathing out the ignorance. That past part of us that wasn't aware. Well, now we are aware. Going back to media wars, we also understand that we need to continue to discuss the things that are taking place, but like traditions in the past, like the Gnostics, some things need to be said in code. Some things are merely being said to me, to the core few hundred listeners, without much of a consideration or a desire for the other million or billion potential listeners of YouTube to hear the things that Alex Ansary is saying. Okay, because I can't wake up the whole world, and I don't have that type of energy. I do have a lot of energy. That's also why my energy comes under attack. Because the energy is powerful. And so much of my energy has gone into this YouTube channel, and with the demonetization and the other things, sometimes we face energy blowback for the good work that we've done. It's not always political or conspiratorial. There are people that have dealt with energetic interference, that have tried to expose the spiritual parasites and their hold on humanity. It's really the combination of factors and topics. But we can only water down the message so much. In the end, exposing those individuals that lead us over cliffs is spiritual. But it's all in the words that we use. Now we live in the day and the age of the flagged word. And it is very much like a traditional time in human history where there was suppression of women and there was suppression of ideas and there was suppression of the real teachings. It's almost as if we're in the same world. Nothing's really changed except the appearance of things, but it's still the same matrix. We go through different climatic periods. We have different expressions of relationships, technologies, homes, and architecture. But it's still the same spiritual matrix. And we are still souls having a human experience, asking ourselves, how do we really escape the matrix? Breathing in that truth, looking for that gnosis within. And releasing all of that false programming and teachings that have been given from others, other interpretations. Instead of ask others or other figures on the internet what they think about someone else's truth, why not tap into your truth? Or hear what that host's truth is, whether it be me or somebody else, instead of compare it to somebody else, to somebody else's theory on the multiple dimensions and the entities within those dimensions. The greater question is not what does somebody think about somebody else's work, and I've done that before, but the greater gnosis, what is your truth? And how did you come to that truth? Why? Can you say why? Can you write down with a piece of paper in 5? If I gave you 1 hour to explain to me how this world is structured on just a general idea without drawing out the actual atoms, but the nature of what we're doing here as souls, do you at least have a good grasp of the situation that you're in? Do you at least have a good grasp of the situation that you're in? And then the spark on YouTube echoed something that I said. We're tapping into a similar awareness, and we feel this call to warn those of you that are coming across our content. Do not let this matrix program you into thinking that you have to off yourself, because this program is dominant. You don't know this until now, I spent part of last week on the phone calling suicide crisis counselors, giving them some tips on how to do their job. That's right. Because I also call with information. You see, we're going into a solar minimum. Solar minimum researchers in the house. There's more of them finding my channel, and I want to thank you guys for being there. The mental health risks, especially for those of us at higher elevation. We are dealing with this deeper connection with the cosmos, and I think that we can have a spiritual experience, but we better hang on tight as we deal with the bombardment of energies from the cosmos and all that that means, all that that is. When the Earth's weakening magnetic field from less solar activity gets thinner, all different types of energies are coming through, and you know what I'm thinking. You know exactly what I'm thinking. It's like that scene out of Ghostbusters. It's like all of a sudden the Ghostbuster grid is about to go down. Get ready. Get ready, because Slimer's getting powered up. And so it's like people are looking at the solar minimum, and the crop part is a very critical part. There's also other things too. So the sun ultimately has a number of different influences, and is a perceivable positive and negative psychological, social influence, resource influence on society. Solar maximum, more growth, more crops, more resources, more agriculture, more money. Who says money doesn't grow on trees, so to speak, right? And it's all tied to the sun. But there's also something about that solar energy that we can use, that we can harness, that we in fact need. That's why they spray the skies, and that hasn't fully come out. Although there's been bits of information, but it hasn't fully come out as to why they're really doing it. And perhaps it will come out in the future, and how it relates to blocking out the rays of the sun from accessing our biological bodies. We are children of the sun. So what are we being terraformed into? Just like that video I have on YouTube, feel free to check it out. Are they terraforming the planet for the new humans? Without losing ourselves to fear. We're looking at this to truly understand the nature of what the soul is challenged with, not to lose ourselves to fear with what is going to happen to the body. And I am faced with that on some levels more than you, to rise above fear with regards to certain scenarios playing out. Now this you know, and it actually takes a certain amount of spiritual power to rise above this type of biological, instinctual programming that will do anything to continue to survive, including self-censorship, including certain things, including being somebody else, including working for the enemy. And we see so many people out of survival working for the enemy. Do we not? Working for their dollars, taking their dollars as a part of their system and doing what is ordered of them, and not even thinking about the real spiritual consequences for such actions and the darkness that that brings to the household. That type of an energetic connection to the federal government or its money for exchanges or services given. That is a cord with them. This information is valuable, especially to anybody suffering from PTSD that served overseas, that has still not yet addressed the beast system that they have served. It's more than just a few presidents that may have misled and misdirected over some disinformation. It is the matrix itself. So there's healing that needs to occur. And there's a place right now for people on the planet, people like me, to remind those that they have a soul, and that they have a soul worth saving. And that they have a soul that potentially has the ability to evolve beyond this matrix. But there's work and action required. There's certain programming and lies that we have to evolve beyond. As we breathe in that truth, you need to be able to see where in your body and where in your mind you need to clear out that programming. Literally within our cells can be bombarded with this ancient programming to pick up a weapon and continue the crusade. And see, early on, right after 9/11, there were people like Clyde Lewis and others that talked about the conditioning to take us back to the 13th century. And at that point, it was open and it was safe, if you will, to be questioning the direction that we were going. And it was not taboo to say that they, the real controllers of this planet, are trying to take us back to some sort of dark Christian crusades with regards to what's happening overseas. And it was normalized for us to discuss it when it was George Bush. The anger continued, right, towards the system with some when Barack Obama came in. But the pacification came in recent years to where people want to believe that change, we can believe it and make America great again, has arrived, and that is a spiritual sickness. Political worship is akin to possession. And so there's a lot of people that are afflicted with this possession, with this political possession, with this hatred, and it is growing. And they've picked a side, and they truly believe that there is only one good side. And there is one political side that is entirely to blame for all the world and country's problems. From the left, it's the right to blame. From the right, it's the left to blame. But neither side is stepping back as the observer and going, isn't it interesting that they have us blaming each other down on the ground while they continue to expand the wars? And people aren't even catching on to the fact that what's coming with China is controlled by the same hand. It's not a wild card situation based on what mood Trump is in today or tomorrow. Nor was the mood of Barack Obama, how he woke up that day, the real reason why things turned out a particular way. Everything he did was a part of the script, the way he bowed, or the way Hillary Clinton pretended to fall down to throw the fight to Trump. You see, and all of this is just gnosis. This is not conspiratorial. This is not political. This is describing the human condition on a 5-sense reality planet, or a 3D planet. Of course, many of us are operating outside of the 5 senses. Here in the 3rd dimension. But that is not something that is accepted by today's society. There are many that will come to you and will profess to be seers, people of light, people like Mr. Gilliland and others that are still blessing and anointing those that have been placed in power with their own New Age version of Romans 13. And so this is very predominant, prevalent on metaphysical websites today in the American alternative media. Instead of spirituality and grounding out the programming, they're asking you to take a deep breath and embrace this current structure and the current world order under the guise of it being a stepping stone to ascension. And that is a lie. The most popular, loudest spiritual teachers that are on the internet today or are speaking are leading their flocks into another incarnation within this matrix as far as I can see. So if it's not Teal Swan reducing the potential consequences of suicide to her audience, it's others that are directing consciousness, people to give their love, their energy to these entities in suits. Now I want you to think about that. And I've seen this early on in other groups in Portland where it was just free to the public. Anybody can come. And I was exploring in 2003 with different spiritual groups, checking out what they were doing. I didn't hang around long. I didn't hang around the Aquarian Foundation long. In a guided meditation, a so-called fake channel message from St. Gabriel, given by a quote, Sunat Kamara, or someone who went by that title, was encouraging the flock to give their energy to the United Nations under the guise of world peace. The problem with that is they're directing the human energy, which is powerful, to that middleman organization, which is controlled by them. And so it got me thinking, and it taught me a lot after that point, once I really started to understand about the UN and about these groups and the control structure. But the power of human thought must be really amazing and powerful if they want to get us to sit down in a circle and get us to give them their energy. And for something to be recorded in 1975 to be recycled in the year 2003, that means a tape is living on in spiritual infamy. Do you understand? That spiritual entities, in some cases, could be powered up by humans that are constantly citing them, reciting them, or praying to them. Entities. Forms of intelligence other than actual gods, or the God, or the creative force. Masqueraders of the all that is. So, being grounded, being full of energy, your thoughts, your truth, helps as a preventative to these archonic takeovers of human consciousness. I want you to continue this. The bringing in of your own truth, of your own breath, the purging out of that which needs to go at this time. Please support this work at Patreon. Please check out the links down below. So you take a deep breath and pull in that prana. Release that programming and that which needs to go, and continue this. Spend time outside under the sun. Let go of those thoughts of disease and those pre-programmed thoughts, especially those thoughts that may be toxic about ourselves, because if you've listened to Bruce Lipton and his appearances on Art Bell and the discussions about epigenetics, apply that to this. Everything that's in those talk shows and lectures that he discusses about epigenetics, apply this to our own real evolution, not the counterfeit ascension that's brought to us by loving leaders that are developing a world order coalition to purge the world. Now, we want to step back from that beast. And it may be difficult. We may cry. We may scream. We may see beautiful, happy people, shiny people holding hands, even family members that are tapped into the false beast deception of the New Age movement and spiritual communities. But you need to step back and allow your family members and allow your girlfriends, boyfriends, ex-spouses to be what they are as a soul. You need to know in the end, you're only responsible for your own actions. Yes, it gets complicated when you're in a relationship. And yes, it gets complicated when you build a big family. That's why some of us souls in human bodies, people like myself, live most of our lives alone or alongside nature. It's only in this particular day and age or incarnation that I'm in that I have digital technology to help me get this message to you this hour, today, instead of continue to work on it and sit on it and have it released later. But the greater reality is, even if this is being released instantaneously, what I'm doing is not so different than people in the past. I'm creating information and ideas that can set souls free or help them or be a part of the group effort as we try to help each other escape the matrix. And this information is going to be considered more valuable and relevant for future generations. While it's misunderstood by most of society and only has the attention of only a few of you at this time. It's not an accident that it's only a few of you that remain now on this channel at this time. It's only a few of you, only so many of you, that believe I'm worth supporting on a monthly basis or signing up to outsofthebox.vhx.tv. By the way, there's only been one new member to sign up in 3 months. That would be one. That would be only one. Out of 3 months, only one. Only one. $5.95 per month, only one. There's a reason for that. Some people may even feel drawn to my content, but they may not feel drawn to actually support it because there's an energetic blockage. And someone actually thinking, you know what, this guy is genuine and is primarily focused on the spiritual truth, not this conspiratorial dead wall, dead end. And I'd like to set myself free from this physical world, from this material world. And I've just come to this awareness that there's only so many ways to do that. And in today's day and age, with certain levels of deceptions, certain deceptions that have gone viral, standing against those deceptions is a way of life. Standing against the lie, standing in the truth, standing in the light is a way of life. So we're going to end things there. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for your